Welcome to Stock Talk. This is your host, Scott. I hope you've had a good couple of weeks of trading. Market's been up and down, so we're going to take a look at the portfolio today and see what's going on with NVAX. Have had some news over the last couple of weeks. The approval came in for the U.S. and had a good little pop, and then it actually sold off on the news. So we're going to take a look at that and the whole portfolio. So let's go ahead and do that as we get over and take a look at it for the week. All right, so here's our portfolio, and you can see a little bit of green on Friday. The markets were green. We actually had a red day for NVAX, but it's had a pretty flat week. We'll go ahead and pull up some charts here and take a look at that. We'll go ahead and pull up a 5-day chart. You can see it's pretty flat for the week. Here's where we had our little pop, and then it sold off, and then it came back, and then it sold off, and then it came back and sold off a little bit. So that's just kind of the story. Let's go ahead and pull up that 5-day chart on it so we can compare to Moderna and the markets. So let's see if we can get that. All right, so here's the 5-day chart. You can see here the purple is the market. The market was up 5.2% for the last 5 days, and looks like Moderna and NVAX, both vaccines, were down about 1% or 2%. So we were doing pretty good last week. Last 5 days ago, we were actually above both the market and Moderna, and then we fell down below the markets. But as you can see here, we've at times we've caught up with the markets and even passed Moderna. Here we did the same thing, got up there right where the market was at, and then we sold off on Friday. So we were right there with it, and then at the beginning of Friday, and then we sold off. So that's how it went. But you can see here, it's had some days where it started out on the downside and fought its way back, but the volume on NVAX has been extremely low. Let's take a look at that. Just to give you an example, you can see Friday even, you're talking about half the volume here, and it's been that way for several days. What we've seen in that time period, you can see we have these starts of the days where it's down, and then it fights its way back up to some degree, and then it's done that a couple times. Thursday it did it, and then Friday it was not able to fight its way back to a green area. And so, but our portfolio didn't do so bad, but for the week, I think it ended up pretty close to flat for the week. But and this is, as you can see here, you know, they're pretty flat. NVAX pretty flat too. But we did have all kinds of news on NVAX this week. Let's see if we can just kind of take a glimpse at some. Let's see here. It got approval in Japan and Australia for adolescents 4 days ago. And so that's good. And then, of course, it did get its approval in the U.S. as well. But really, what we need now, let's talk about what we really need now is, of course, good earnings. And earnings should be coming up in a week or two, and we've got to really have a good hit there in order to get this stock back up to a decent price. Earnings, that's really what it's all about right now. They have got to meet these earnings that they predicted so far. It was $4 to $5 billion for the year. Last quarter they came in under $1 billion, and so this quarter we definitely need $1 billion in revenue plus some, and then it would be really nice if we could get 1.2 2, 3, or something like that, to kind of get caught up for the last quarter and just see that things are picking up as far as the revenues. That's what we've got to see. And what we'd also like to see too is maybe some additional predictions for the revenue, because we've added several other things that were not included in those numbers, like the U.S. and some of that. I think it was Japan as well. So we need to make sure we've got, if we've got an opportunity there to up those guidance, and that would be a good sign as well. But mainly just to see that we are on track, we are getting this stuff out. It is selling, we are collecting monies for it, so that's the big deal. It's not just getting it out, it's collecting the money and future orders and things like that. So the U.S. did order 3.2 million doses for the military, so hopefully we can get another order in before earnings comes out. So we did see some analysts reiterate their guidance and things like that as far as their share price goes. So it's the company is in better shape than it's ever been. So that's what I'm banking on. Whether this market ever realizes it or not, that's a whole different story. Of course, it's got to meet these earnings as well. Now we've been buying it, adding to our position, so we're loaded with it right now. We're not going to get any more, and so we'll just wait for this, and we're going to start selling probably if it gets back to that $75 range or somewhere around there. That's probably where we'll start selling some of our trading shares that we have. Okay, we do have a core value that we're going to keep at least for the rest of the year and into next year, to see how that does. But we'd like to see some of those prices that we'd seen in the past, maybe $200 or $300 at some point. But they're going to have to keep going and move strong. The virus will have to continue, and it is continuing. I don't know about y'all, but I've seen a lot of people at my church that's had it, and of course, it seems like it's not the type that's killing people. It's just more like a flu, cold type thing. So that's good for us, and it's at least we catch it, we got a chance to survive, and it's not that big a deal. But people are going to still get vaccinated and get boosters, and that's another thing that we really need to get into this booster game, because we're kind of late to the market, but we could be right on track with that booster game. So we got to try to get into that. And we saw some news come out Friday, and this might be why it was down, that really didn't mention us for boosters in the U.S. And of course, there's really no need to, because we haven't even applied for the booster yet. So we've got to do that. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at on that. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of the portfolio and just kind of get an idea of what was going on there. So let's pull that up. CLSD, let's take a look at what it's done in the last 5 days. Had a couple of good days when the markets were up. So let me put that 5-day chart up there if I can. Down for the week though. You can see here we did have a down week for that one. The volume on that's very, very low. The average volume is only 170,000. I usually don't buy shares that only have that kind of volume. It's probably fallen off over the period of time here, because I usually don't do anything under $1 million. All right, and then we got Bitcoin's up again today. It's had a pretty good little run, which has helped HUT out a little bit. So let's take a look at HUT. HUT's a Bitcoin miner, and I believe it's had a pretty good week. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, so it's had an up week. I mean, nothing crazy, but it was up. From this point, it had a pretty good little gain. Got down to 169.50, 169, 170, and ended up at 212. So that's a pretty good little gain there from that period of time. The volume on that, you can see the volume was up. a lot of activity with Bitcoin this week, so HUT reflects that same movement. NVTA, not sure what we did for the week there. Haven't been paying a lot of attention to anything hardly but NVAX. But yeah, we got a 5-day chart that's down on this one. From Tuesday, though, it's been pretty close to flat. And we got Tilray. Tilray had a couple of good days. Not sure where it ended up for the week. You can see how it did on Friday. Pretty good little tick up. We had an up week for Tilray, not too bad. From this point here, it especially has done pretty good. So about 10% from there. We're a long ways off on all these though, so it doesn't really matter. We just need them to head in the right direction. But they've gotten beat up about as bad as you can get beat up on anything. So that does happen. Here's Nikola, only half the volume of normal. And for the week, it had a really good day on Thursday, it looked like, sold off on some of that. And but it is up for the week. So that's kind of where we're at. It was probably a flat to maybe just up a little bit for the week. And we'll take it. We'll take it. I appreciate you hanging in with the channel. It's just been slow. We're just still waiting for NVAX to make a move. All these other ones are going to just do whatever the market does. I mean, if it's a green market, usually you have green days on most of those. Last week we saw a really good day for the markets, and NVAX ended up flat for the day. So that's not what we like to see. But again, the news is out. We were approved. Now we just got to get approved for these boosters, these different age limits, those type of things. And we gotta make these revenue numbers and earnings numbers and everything come earnings time, which is just around the corner, maybe early as next week. So but they haven't really made. I don't think they've made the official announcement yet on what day. They usually do that a week before, so we'll see if that comes out early this week. And hopefully we can meet those numbers and we get this thing headed in the right direction. But that's about all we can do is just wait for that earnings report and keep your fingers crossed on that. We'll report back in a couple of weeks just to touch base with you. But in the meantime, I hope you have some good trading in between now and then. And if you're like me, you're just kind of sitting there waiting for things to happen. And that's where we're at in the market. At least it seems like the worst of the dropping seems to be done. But, you know, that could change in a heartbeat and keep going. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed that it doesn't and it kind of settles here. And maybe about November, we can get this thing turned in the right direction. We're going to wait on that election. And if the election goes towards the Republicans, I believe we'll see an uptick in the market from that point forward. All right. Well, have a great day. Have a great week. A couple of weeks of trading. I'll get back with you in a couple of weeks. Thanks. Bye.